Look, I know that there are a bunch of you out there that probably have some AR or AK style firearms that are, let's just say, questionably legal. Today I want to talk about how you can stay safe while owning those guns. In the state of California, things are a little funky. Because the whole assault weapon ban, there's a lot of people that either disagree with the laws fundamentally or just are not aware of the laws and haven't had a chance to maybe convert their firearms to a compliant configuration. I'm going to get it right out of the bat, off the rip. I'm not a lawyer. I don't care what you do. I'm not recommending that you break the law. I am just going to give you some potential tips that could potentially help you stay out of trouble. This is just my interpretation of it, so feel free to disagree. Now, I am not going to be talking about federal constructive intent for NFA items. I am not aware of any way that you could possess those in a non-registered, non-legal configuration that you could transport them around and have them or have the parts. Today I'm talking solely about the state of California and the assault weapon ban. The guns that I'm going to be showing you today are legal. I do not possess any assault weapons. I do not possess any unregistered assault weapons. I don't possess any illegal firearms. I'm just going to be demonstrating with some of my guns that are legal how you could potentially stay safe while having these things around. Again, I am reiterating, I do not recommend that you break the law. Now let's get into the video. So, unloaded gun. Let's say this gun is not a rifle, pistol, or shotgun. This is an other. Let's say that this gun was your AR that potentially is not configured in a way that's legal in the state of California and you want to drive around with that. What could you do? Well, the California assault weapon ban is actually an interesting ban. The state of California and the Department of Justice said that a gun that is not mechanically whole as a semi-auto is not semi-auto. And if we look at the assault weapon ban, most of it is pertaining to it being semi-auto. So for a semi-auto centerfire rifle with detachable magazines, there's a list of features that you can't have on the gun. What the state of California actually said, though, specifically was that a gun that is not mechanically whole and able to fire as semi-auto is not. So this gun here, this is a lower receiver. This is the firearm. This is the gun. Currently, it's not semi-auto. If I were to put a semi-auto upper, which I am going to say this is, but for demonstration purposes, I'm not going to give you any sort of information. Now, let's say that this gun was semi-auto centerfire and a rifle, which it is not. This gun, if it was your assault weapon, would be configured in a way that's illegal. However, the second you either take the upper and lower apart or take the bolt carrier group out, this gun would not be considered an assault weapon. Now here's the problem. Think about this. You're driving, you've got an unregistered assault weapon, you get pulled over by a cop, and that gun was assembled without the bolt carrier group in it. Do you think that the cops understand the law well enough? If I'm having to explain this to you, do you think that the cops actually know the law well enough? The answer is probably not. People get pulled over all the time with compliant and legal firearms that the cops may not understand it. And you're probably going to not believe me when I say this, but when I worked in a gun shop from 2015 to 2018, on multiple occasions, I had police officers call the gun shop and ask, hey, this guy has this gun. Is it legal? I shit you not. Multiple times I had cops from Sonoma County call and say, hey, is this gun legal? My only response was, so when they ask, hey, is this gun legal? I had two responses that I would typically give, usually both. One, aren't you guys the cops and shouldn't you know this? And two, no, that gun's legal because I'm not a narc. So you have your unregistered assault weapon. How can you legally transport that around? My personal recommendation is to always, one, drive the goddamn speed limit, have a working tail lights, don't do things that would get you pulled over, and then two, completely disassemble the firearm upper and the lower. This right here is not semi-auto. This cannot be an assault weapon in the state of California. The second that I put a semi-auto upper on my rifle or on my pistol, that could be considered an assault weapon based on the features. However, when you drive around with it unloaded, boom, You can then throw the entire rifle or pistol or shotgun unassembled in a case like this, lock it up. At that point, you're in the clear. However, cops may not be aware of that, but at the end of the day, what you've done is a way to have your gun, drive it around, and have it, a non-compliant firearm, not get you in trouble. Because I see time and time again on the news, people with non-compliant firearms, they get pulled over because they were driving 4 miles over the speed limit. They get pulled over because they swerved a little bit and a cop thought they were drunk. They get pulled over because they were in a school zone and they were going 35 and a 25, but they thought it wasn't a school zone hour. Whatever it is, people get pulled over all the time, and they get pulled over all the time while simply possessing guns that they shouldn't, and that leads them to getting in trouble. And I don't want that to happen to you guys. Again, I need to reiterate, I'm not a lawyer. This is not legal advice. This is just something that I am aware of. I'm going to link down below the actual document from the Department of Justice showing that if you just simply disassemble your upper and lower on your AR platform rifles, that it would be not an assault weapon. The same thing could work with an AK, but taking the bolt out of it, how many cops actually know how an AK works? Probably not many. I mean, I don't mean to discredit firearms knowledge when it comes to police officers, but a lot of cops aren't gun people, and that's just how it is. They're just people that are cops that by occupation carry a gun. They're not necessarily into guns like you or I are. I hope this was helpful. I didn't really want to make this video because it's kind of getting into that area of it's kind of getting into that area of it's getting too close to legal advice for my comfort, but I just want you guys to be aware of that. I'm going to leave links down below to where I got this information. Again, I need to reiterate, federal law when it comes to constructive possession or constructive intent can still apply, and I am not talking about that. I'm specifically talking about the state assault weapon ban when it comes to something like a rifle or a pistol. If it's disassembled, this is not a semi-auto firearm. This is just a firearm. If you were to complete that gun and put it together in a assault weapon configuration, that could get you in trouble. Disassembled in a non-mechanically whole semi-auto doesn't count. Now, someone's probably going to ask, what if I had an adjustable gas block and I just turn it off? Well, in my mind, that gun would still be mechanically whole. And that's the kind of language that we're talking about, because I could also just take the gun from fire to safe, and that would be the same thing, right? It's still mechanically whole. It's still physically capable of firing semi-auto. You just turned a lever. However, if you disassemble it by removing the upper and lower, or removing the bolt carrier group, or removing the firing pin or the trigger assembly, that gun would no longer be assembled in a manner that's semi-auto. So I've kind of had to repeat myself multiple times while making this video, while talking about this, but if you have any questions, let me know. As always, have fun, be safe, stay dangerous. Peace. One of you fuckers in my last video was talking shit about my ability to shotgun a beer, so today I'm going to shotgun a Coors Light. This is a tall boy can, this ain't no pussy shit. This one specifically was sitting out in the sun for many days, as you can see by the slightly discolored Coors logo on one side. So we're gonna see how this goes. Now, I know you're probably at this point, again, sir, talking shit about my gingerness when I am cracking this open. Yeah, I get it. However, I work in this office all day. I am not trying to spill beer all over my floor. If you would like to challenge me, feel free. Post up a video, post up a link in response to this. We're gonna get it done. I'm going to probably not put up a timer because I don't know how to do that when it comes to editing, and I really don't want to learn just for the sake of this, but here we go. Gotta catch my breath because I've been long-winded speeches.
pressure.